The U.S. government has proposed new rules to reduce carbon emissions from the nation's power plants. But energy companies have already been converting older plants to cleaner technologies because they think it makes economic sense.
Well, VOA's Brian Padden visited one of these power plants in Virginia, which has converted itself from the state's oldest coal-burning facility to one that is now powered by natural gas. And it's all part of a bigger strategy for power generation, as Brian told me when we talked.
The trains that run through rural Virginia no longer deliver coal to the Bremo Power Facility. The plant's coal conveyor will soon be dismantled. Natural gas now powers the Bremo station. The $53 million conversion project was undertaken in part to comply with existing environmental regulations.
It's interesting because, when you look at just a basic headline on this story, it's converting from coal to natural gas. So you wonder, is that going to be the trend here? What does this mean for the coal industry?
The power company officials told me that it's not so much that they want to move to gas exclusively, that it's more so that they want to have a diversity in the future. They want to be able to have coal. They're developing solar. They're developing wind plants. They have a proposal to build a wind farm off the coast of Virginia. They want to build more nuclear. So they're saying we need it all.
Ed Bain, Dominion Power's vice president for power generation, says converting this plant to gas was also part of the company's long-term business plan.
We want to make sure that we're doing what's right to keep rates low for our customers, improve reliability, and also protect the environment.
Bain says in part because Dominion converted Bremo to gas, the company was given permission by state regulators to build a new coal-burning plant elsewhere. LG Holstein, with the Environmental Defense Fund Advocacy Group, says it is unrealistic to ban coal completely.
The new coal-fired plants that are being built in America today are much, much cleaner than these 40 and 50-year-old plants. Still, even that new coal-fired generation is going to be much more limited because there's so much cheap natural gas around.
So this idea of clean coal production will continue.
The government is pouring lots of money into developing clean coal technology. Environmental organizations will tell you we need that, because even if we move from the U.S. exclusively to natural gas, countries like China and India are still very reliant on coal. So we need to develop some affordable, clean coal technology, and if we can do it here in this country, they say, we can sell that technology overseas.
Wow, so there are a lot of things then in the works here with new energy technologies.
There's a lot of forward thinking about what we need in the future. I asked about new development of new technologies, and they told me that they have nearby the world's largest battery. Now, when you think of a battery, you think of some high-tech piece of equipment.
Metal.
Right.
Yeah.
But what they're talking about is this huge reservoir of water that they can feed like this into an electrical turbine when the need occurs. So when it's a very hot day or a very cold day and they need extra electricity, they can just let the water flow through that turbine and increase their electrical capacity. They're developing wind and solar, not so much because it's the most affordable and economical today, but they want to know what it's going to be like in the future.
What's the government's role in all of this?
The government, both the state and the federal government, work very closely on a number of levels. Power companies in most of the country are utilities. They're monopolies to a certain degree. So there's a lot of oversight on the economic side. There's oversight on the environmental side. In Europe, you see a similar amount of oversight about pollution and climate change. But in the developing world, we don't see a lot of oversight, and that's where there's a lot of concern for global warming in the future.
Right, and after this experience, Brian, going to this plant, you've done other environmental stories before. What do you see as being the future here?
I agree with what they've basically said, is that there is no one fuel for the future. What was also interesting, though, is the basic technology, no matter the fuel, is the same. It's all about heating water to create steam, because once they create the steam, that is what moves the turbines, that creates electricity, and that's the technology that's been existing for 100 years.
And our thanks, as always, to VOA's Brian Padden. Now, natural gas production has been booming here in the U.S., and that's thanks mostly to hydraulic fracturing technology, or fracking, up 35% since 2005.